Hey everyone, The Home is this new horror film directed by James DeMonaco. And if you're into unsettling, suspense-driven stories with deeper emotional arcs, this one's worth paying attention to. Horror is having a bit of a renaissance right now, especially these indie low budget horrors that have no choice but to deliver on the story. And The Home is one of those stories that really hits hard, not just for its creepy vibes and those disturbing twists, but because it builds real emotional stakes around a character who's trying to redeem himself. So let's break this down and talk about what makes The Home such a compelling film to watch. Max is this young man with a troubled past, and he's spent most of his life in a foster home. And after the death of his brother Luke, Max kind of becomes a troubled youth, and he just kind of continues that pattern in the world. He ultimately ends up facing some jail time as an adult after breaking and entering, but instead of prison, he is given the chance to work at this assisted living facility for elderly residents. And he's told that he needs to basically just keep the place cleaned up, keep it tidy, and to care for the elderly residents. And if he does, you know, he'll be able to walk free at the end of his 4 month period. At first, things seem pretty normal, if a bit institutional and strange. Max soon starts noticing these little things, these odd behaviors from some of the residents. He's got these weird nightmares that he can't explain, a strange feeling that something is going on, something is really off about this place, especially whatever's happening on the mysterious fourth floor as he builds relationships with the residents, especially with Norma, this sweet elderly woman who's really sharp, and she sees something in him that is good. And Max really responds to that, and he starts digging into the facility's secrets in order to maybe keep her and the others safe. And what he finds is really kind of terrifying. And Max is a fantastic character who I really didn't like at first. I found him a little off putting, but then he starts to grow on you. In so many horror films, we get main characters who are reactive to their environment. They're kind of sterile feeling, but not here. That's not how Max is. He makes you feel something. In a lot of these other films, characters, they just run around doing dumb things trying to survive. But that's not Max. The Home presents him as a much more complex person. Max is actively trying to become a better version of himself. He doesn't want to go to jail, but more than that, once he starts making real connections inside the home, he starts to care about these people, like truly care about them. And his relationship with Norma becomes the emotional center of this story. It is through her eyes that Max begins to see who he could be, a protector, a friend, someone who could make a difference in another person's life. And he wants to rise to that challenge. He wants to rise to that level. It's an honest film, and it's authentic in how his character really evolves. And that's the basic formula for any hero to rise to, even when things start to spiral and the horror escalates. He doesn't run. Well, not at first. He does run at one point, but no spoilers here. Instead, Max really investigates. He uses his street skills. He focuses in on those things he's pretty good at, like breaking and entering and snooping and finding hidden doors and, exploring locked down sections of the building to really figure out what's happening here. He uncovers parts of the facility that aren't really meant to be found, and he learns what it's really like when things are going on behind these polite smiles and the staff who kind of structure things in certain ways and all the activities that are scheduled and just this manner or that manner, and the residents who act a certain way. The deeper he goes into uncovering the home's secrets, the darker it really gets, and the more he grows as a character. What makes him so compelling is that he gets knocked down. I mean, he is not just this Mary Sue guy coming in to fix everything. And he kind of gets his butt kicked a bit. There are no easy solutions for him. Every choice is about survival, and his choices cost him more and more throughout the film, but they come with the potential of a really big payoff if he can survive. And at its core, the home, it really is about survival and a redemption arc that are kind of wrapped inside of a horror skin. One of the most unsettling things about the home is how it weaponizes the very idea of comfort. The facility itself is designed to feel safe and warm and controlled. It's structured, it's full of pastel walls and scheduled activities, soft music and laughter, but it's all just this mask. The longer you sit with it, the more unnatural the place feels. Like a manufactured version of comfort that is only skin deep. Something about the tone of the facility is just off. And that is actually deliberate. It's very deliberate in this movie. The film leans into this with visual cues like shifting shadows, flickering lights, and sterile hallways, as well as through the way the staff interact with each other and with the residents. Everyone seems just a little too nice, a little too rehearsed, a little too terrified. There's a particular kind of horror in the idea that someone could be manipulated under the guise of kindness, and the home really explores that theme. Max's locked room keeps getting broken into while he sleeps. He hears screams that no one wants to talk about. When he's warned to stay away from the fourth floor, it only drives him there that much more quickly. All of these little moments of misalignment come together to build the overall sense of dread, but the home doesn't do it through jump scares, which are honestly the equivalent of cheap tricks in a horror film, and they're not really all that scary. Instead, this movie uses psychological pressure in really ordinary ways that are relatable, and it all starts to sink together slowly, building into this confrontation that is powerful and unsettling, and how right that it feels. And you almost feel a little guilty for being so happy at these weird moments of conflict. This is one of those films that proves why low budget horror is where some of the best storytelling is happening right now. There's no huge CGI monster, no big action set pieces. What you get instead is better writing, better dialogue, and a story that actually makes sense from beat to beat to beat. Because when you don't have a Marvel sized budget, you have to rely on things like pacing and character development and internal story logic. You have to build tension through emotion and conflict, not spectacle. The home nails the story in a way that hasn't been told before. And you know what? That's kind of exciting. It knows what kind of horror film it is, and it doesn't flinch. Every moment moves with a deliberate rhythm. It's not rushed. It's not trying to be cute or ironic or gruesome. It just comes together. It's telling a very creepy, emotional, thoughtful story about a guy who walks into a nightmare and chooses to stay, not for selfish reasons, but because he finally has something worth fighting for and people who need him. Okay, so a quick content warning. This film does have some intense scenes. If you're squeamish about gore, needles, or anything eye related, kind of like me, just be ready for it. None of it is gratuitous, though. Every disturbing moment is in service of the story. It's not just there to shock you, it's there to make you feel the horror, that Max is uncovering. But if you're sensitive to needles and eyes and blood, you might want to cover your eyes. I know I did at least twice. So, is the home ticket worthy? Well, if you're a fan of horror, suspense, or emotionally grounded drama, the home is absolutely worth the price of the ticket. It doesn't rely on cheap tricks. It builds a story that respects its characters and its audience. And in a time when so many films are bloated, predictable, or trying too hard to be edgy and cool, the home keeps things simple but sharp. This is one of those movies that will probably fly under the radar. It's not a blockbuster. It's not hyped up by influencers. Instead, it's just a solid story. And I think that is honestly the best kind of film. And it's what I want to see in a theater. That's what I want to spend my money on. If you're thinking of bringing a child to this movie, just don't. It's not for kids. It's not a kids movie. What really makes the homework is the way it uses horror to tell a human story. You don't just care because something scary is about to happen. You care because Max deserves better and you want to see him survive. It's a film about fear, but also about kindness and redemption. It's about the way one small act of befriending someone, helping them, and seeing them can ripple out and change the course of their life. So, what did you think? Are you planning to see the home? Have you already seen it? If so, what did you think? I would love to hear your thoughts. Drop them in the comments below and let's talk. And hey, while you're here, please do give this review a thumbs up and subscribe for more and share it with a friend who might be thinking about seeing this slow burn horror movie that is just a great, great story. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. And if you're looking for your next movie, why not check out one of these reviews? All right, that's it for now. I'll see y'all again soon. Until then, happy viewing. Bye for now.